I wholeheartedly believe we have kept people from going to prison, and they will tell you that, because they'll tell you I was on the wrong road making bad choices. And I've asked, every once in a while I'll just ask, you know, hey, if you weren't here, what you been? I'd probably be in jail, or I'd be on my way to prison, or I'd be out on the street, or I might be dead. You know, so yes, I definitely think it makes a big difference.
This is season 2, episode 5 of the Smart Justice Podcast, a look inside.
Crime and punishment are hot topics. Are there solutions different than what we're hearing about at a national level?
They're trying to stop that cycle so that we don't see their children, they don't see them in juvenile court, we don't see them headed to circuit court.
We give someone a traffic ticket and they're scared, they can't pay that ticket, and what do? They don't show up for court. They think it's going to go away. Well, it doesn't go away.
It's not about the court bringing in that money, it's about helping that person avoid this kind of problem in the future.
There is a different way to approach justice that has better return on investment.
The bad people need to be in jail and stay there. Folks that are suffering from just social ills, they don't need to be here.
That seems to strengthen both law enforcement and courts and tie that together with community resources.
I think that's what makes it worthwhile, that little bit of extra time you spend working on it. If you can't do a little mercy when you're here, then it's not worth being here.
And then track the impact to communities and better outcomes. And we're calling this approach Smart Justice.
Smart Justice is a work of Restore Hope and partner organizations. Restore Hope is a software and services organization that helps communities achieve better outcomes for justice and child welfare efforts. Smart Justice is focused on optimizing the system by improving the relationships among its parts.
In season 2, we have been going upstream, discussing how district court can be the place to meet people needing an off-ramp out of the justice system. In this episode, we're taking a look inside a very unique district court that could serve as a model.
In this episode of Smart Justice, we have a real treat for you. There is a unique program that really illustrates what is possible in community diversion in Van Buren, Arkansas. We have the pleasure of being with my friend, Dr. Debbie Faubus, the Director of Adult Ed for Crawford County, and we're going to meet some of her staff as well as Crawford County District Court Judge Baker. And you are co-located, your adult ed staff and the court is all under one roof. And I don't know of any other place that happens in the state of Arkansas. So Dr. Faubus, before we start the tour, how long have you been doing alternative sentencing or community diversion with the court? Because you didn't start it by moving in together with the district court, but tell us a little bit about how this all came to be.
Well, I've been in adult ed for 14 years, and they started a program in South Arkansas, and they called it Smarter Sentencing at that time. And I thought, oh, what a neat idea. You grab people before they go to prison or before they go to jail. And so I had a luncheon for the judges in the area and the prosecuting attorneys, and Judge Baker was getting ready to take the bench in January, and he came up to me afterwards and said, I want to start this program. But we've been doing it about 5 years now, and probably saved our county about $1.5 million. So
in jail fees?
Yes, jail fees.
So, Dr. Faubus, when did you actually move in together with the court?
We've been here 1.5 years.
Okay, so you've been doing alternative sentencing for about 5 years, but you had the opportunity then to move into this abandoned school building.
Yes. The school district moved out. Court moved in because they needed more space. Where they were at, they were all cramped.
Judge Charles Baker.
Y'all made a big move a few years ago in that you've got kind of a one-stop shop now. Can you kind of walk us through the story of how this occurred?
Yes. We had a district court office at another location that sometimes I refer to as our district court closet. because we had a lot of people crammed into a really small space with a really small courtroom. And it was difficult just day to day, but then COVID hit. And of course, we initially were told spacing was critical and you didn't want to crowd large numbers of people. The Van Buren School District had built a new elementary school and had planned to close the building that we are currently in. They didn't have any plans for it in the future. When I was in law school, there was a savings and loan in Fayetteville on North College that had built the most beautiful building you'd ever seen in your life. Savings and loan scandal hit, it closed, and they sold that building to Washington County for $1. And that is now one of the Washington County courthouses, clerk's offices. I mean, it's a well-used, beautiful building. And I remembered that. And I said, well, if Van Buren's not going to use this school building, I wonder what they'd say. So I met with the superintendent, told him our plans. He looked at me like I was crazy. And I said, we'd like to give it a shot. If it doesn't work, we'll come back and talk again. But if it does, we'd like to make this long term. And so, long story short, here we are. We've got a whole building. But what that enabled us to do was not only provide enough space for our court people, but to say to adult education, we're referring people to you every day. Could y'all have a presence here in our building? And we've made that available to agencies at the state level. Some of them have taken advantage, some of them have not. We send a lot of people to have evaluations done about substance abuse issues. Western Arkansas Counseling and Guidance actually has someone here for every court session with an office in our building. The agencies that do education for people who have been convicted of DWIs come here every court session for us. We've provided space for attorneys to meet here with clients if they've got somebody traveling from out of town and it's more convenient for them just to come here before court. So it's just enabled us to do all kinds of things we never imagined would be possible before. You've got significant fines to pay in this case. Are you currently working?
No.
How long has it been since you have worked?
Greater than 6 months.
All right, well, I'm going to order you to be evaluated by our adult education team. And they've got some programs that I think could be beneficial to you. I'm ordering you to complete the programs that they recommend, and you'll do that in lieu of paying the fines. It's important that you do exactly what they're asking you to do, because if you don't comply, then they're going to bring you back in front of me and we'll have to deal with that in a different way. All right, at this point, I'm going to order you to go with the people from Adult Ed, meet with probation officers. They'll get you set up in the program and you'll be dealing with them from this point forward.
So, Dr. Faubus, we just witnessed the judge give the option to a defendant to participate in the community diversion program that you're running here. And this is such a unique facility that you've got all of these resources under one roof. And so what happens now to that participant? He chose to participate. Now what happens?
Well, you're right. We do have a unique situation here, and we're very fortunate. And we do have someone in the court at all times, one of my staff members, and then we have another staff member that works with the probation office.
Okay, so what is the staff person that's in court? What do they do?
Okay, the judge requested this person. This person is available if somebody doesn't have a job. Like, they may not always be our students, okay? But there's people that still need help. So if the judge, somebody comes to the podium and they go, yeah, Judge, I don't have a job, I can't pay my bills, blah, blah, blah. Go see this person, they can help you get a job, okay? Then Brian, who generally works with the probation officers, he's waiting in the probation office for the person that is going to be our student.
Okay.
And he will work with them over there. So,
okay. Can
y'all
we see
want to go
that?
over there? Sure.
Yeah.
Let's go. And this area up here, on this level, is all the court people. Okay, this is all of his employees.
Okay, so we just left the courtroom, and then we've got offices, court staff down there.
Judge chamber stuff down here. We got the police officer, window arraignments, and then down this hall is some more of his staff, plus counseling and probation is down here.
Okay,
and
counseling, so you can actually get signed up for substance abuse or mental health here?
Yes,
okay.
And he can court order it, can have them evaluated, they can do it, they can send them and have them evaluated and get the help
It's
they
really
need.
convenient that it's just right here.
Very, and they're here every time we have court, just like we are all the time. I did leave out one thing before, I haven't told you. If you turn behind here, this is a new thing that we've started. This is our food pantry. We partner with Western Arkansas Community Development, and every second Saturday of every month, we do a food handout. So we have a freezer there, we have food ready if people need food, and Melinda cooks in there all the time.
So Dr. Faubus, the thing that I've really appreciated over the years and the way that you view kind of y'all's mission with adult ed is you're actually meeting needs of your students that are here. And so you've obviously found that, well, a couple of things. One is like food is an unusual thing, I think, for adult ed programs to be involved in. But number two is you go out and get other community resources like the church and the food pantry, and then you're a conduit out to the other resources that
Absolutely.
are in this community.
Yeah, we have churches that feed Tuesday and Thursday evenings because that's when we have classes. And I have 13 churches right now, and they rotate. I try to get churches from every denomination, and we have a pretty extensive group of people. And it's really, it's always been so powerful to me when people come in and you've got homeless people and you've got the people coming in from the churches and they're sitting down with them one-on-one talking to them. I mean, they're not throwing religion at them. They're throwing, how are you, what can we do to help you, those kinds of things. To me, it encompasses the whole person, and that's what we try to do, and whether they're our students or not. We have people that come in, like if John Doe's coming and his wife's sitting out in the car with their kids and she's having to pick him up because he didn't have a driver's license, we invite them in to eat also. So, go out in the parking lot and get them. So that's, to me, that's the way it works. But it all comes back because they remember your kindness. They just, and
May
it's
not
true.
remember what you say, but they'll remember
how they treated you,
Yep.
And I love stories, but the one powerful one to me was I came in on a Saturday because we have Saturday classes because some people work out of town and they can't go to class. So a mother had come in and she was in class, and the dad took the kids out to the playground and they're playing on the playground. When they had lunch, she took lunch and went out, and they had a little picnic out there until she was, it was time to come back. He stayed out there until she finished. Now, those kids don't have to know that Mama was in trouble. Those kids just know that Mama's going to school. And isn't this cool? What an example for your kids. It just gives me chills when I think about that, because that's their first teacher is their parent. So it's just cool. Then they come in here and they visit with Grant and they visit with Brian, or they visit with Mary and they visit with Brian. Mary's also a probation officer. When they come in here, they talk to Brian about what program of study they want to go through.
What does that even look like? What are the options that someone may have?
Well, we have OSHA 10. Of course, they can work on their GED. We have a wage certificate, which is basically soft skills. They can get a National Career Readiness Certificate, which a lot of companies require. They can just do any, we have a certified clinical medical assistant, just they can go to college, different things that we have. Choices are so important. If I have anything to say about a program, when you put a program together, you have to give them choices. Remember, we're dealing with adults. They like choices. They want to be treated with respect. And we see...
Imagine the choice gets buy-in from the person.
Yes. So they can say, so that's why we sit down, even after Brian takes him and they come to the school, we sit down with them again and say, okay, where are you at? Well, and then a lot of them will go, well, I'm just here because I got to be here, and then at the end, what's really cool is they'll go, I'm glad I came here. I really learned some things. This wasn't so bad after all. That's the kind of stories I like. The stories when the judge comes downstairs where we are and the people walk up to him and say, thank you for giving me this opportunity. We're not doing the work, but we're helping them. We're giving them another path besides going to jail, because...
Almost view y'all as a bridge to opportunity.
Yeah, I kind of like that. That's good. But, you know, and as I've said before, we've probably saved the county in 5 years $1.5 million in jail cost. And
You're preventing incarceration,
Right.
and so
and that's just going to jail here. What if I get in trouble and I keep going to jail? I end up in prison. You know what the cost is there. That's unbelievable. And so we don't want them to get to that point. We don't want them to be, you know, a career criminal. We want to help them down here. And the smallest things can make a difference. You know, fixing a flat tire, showing them how to get to how to manage a schedule. You know, if it says 8 o'clock, be there a little bit before 8. You know, not 8:15 and not 8:30. If you haven't lived that way and been taught those things, you don't know that. And there's a lot of adults that haven't been. You know, they haven't had opportunity. And so that's what we try to give them, is the opportunity to better themselves, to keep their job, to keep their families together. You know, whatever it is they need.
can you show us some more?
Sure, yeah, you bet. And,
Thanks.
Our court clerk, I wish Marie was here today. Marie's a big part of the court and a really great lady. We work with her a lot.
So this is the front entrance for court.
For court, yes. Yep. Do you want to go on down to where?
Yeah, show
Okay.
us your digs.
Okay. One thing I always wanted was a library/book nook. So this gave us an
You're such a
opportunity.
teacher.
Yeah, I know it. That's a teacher. So this gave us an opportunity to set this up, and we've given out I don't know how many books, and we get books from the library when they're going to give them away, or people donate books to us all the time. And up here we also have our Parents as Teachers program. If it is a person that comes to court, Judge Baker thinks that they might benefit from that program, he also may mention that to them. But generally, he gives us the run of it. Somebody comes in, like he said in court, they will evaluate you, they will talk to you, and then you make those decisions. Well, if I get somebody that's got small children, or let's say it's a woman, she's pregnant, you know, or it's a dad, we try to enroll them in the Parents as Teachers program, because that's just another support system for them. This is Western Arkansas. I had mentioned them, Western Arkansas Community Development, and that's Melinda McSpadden. And she's going to be teaching some classes for us too. We're going to have some cooking classes and some other things like that. We're always looking at things to add.
So when someone chooses to participate in the program, what they're committing to is 40 hours of whatever choices amongst the options.
Exactly.
So
right.
it could be getting the GED or participating in some other workforce development program.
Right. Yeah.
Does counseling count in
No,
the
that's
40
a different,
hours?
that's a whole different ball game, because that's on the other side. So that doesn't have anything to do with us. Now, I do have a counselor that works for me. She's a drug and alcohol counselor.
What happens when they successfully complete the 40 hours?
Okay.
They go back to court and judge reviews?
No, they're done.
They're just done?
They're just done. They get a letter, probation officer gets a letter, and a letter goes in their file, and they're done.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's that simple. They don't even have to see him again.
Okay.
Now, I know in some courts they do want to see them again, but he doesn't. He said, we're good after that.
Okay. I guess that's helped along by y'all all being in one location.
I think it does, yes. Yeah, and
It just makes communication easier.
oh my gosh, because we were in another building, you know, when we started. This is so much better when you're in the same building. And you know, we have issue with somebody, we can walk right up or bring the probation officer down. And we have our person here that is from Carl Albert, and he helps with financial aid.
So if someone wanted to go to college, then you
He's
have
here
just
2 days
here
a
on
week.
site.
And then we have our clothes closet, and also with, you know, housewares, whatever they need. If we don't have it, we try to get it for them. We're partners with a place in Alma called Hand to Hand, and this is my SNAP person that's here also to assist. So we have SNAP and TANF, and then we have Teresa over here, who is workforce. And this is Brittany. She's our AmeriCorps member. Do y'all want to go down the stairs or the elevator? This is Mr. Don, our custodian.
Hey, Mr. Don.
He didn't know he was going to be on film today. This is actually our front door. And so they come here and then they come in and check in. These are all of our offices. They check in with Miss Alice. And then Brian takes care of all of the data that we collect from the alt sentencing program, DWI court, child support court, drug court. He takes care of all of that data.
So, and that's not only tracking kind of the success or failures, but also you're providing that communication then back to the court?
Yes, yes.
So the probation officers and the judge know who's participating, what their status is in participation?
And if they're not participating and they're not getting their hours every week, then they file a warrant. Brian does, like I said, he does all the data, which is very important because we have used that data to apply for grants. And, we try to collect, percentages. We were real excited this year. 100% of our people that went through that had a job kept a job.
Oh, really?
So we were really excited about that.
I would imagine so. I mean, that's got to be one of the most impressive job readiness or job programs in the state.
Yeah, I was ecstatic about that. On down the road.
On to the next.
All right. Okay,
Got
so I want to tell you a little bit about, did you see that? I came in looking for hope and I found a miracle. That came from a student that came in here. He was homeless, had no clothes, pair of shorts, a shirt, needed a job, needed food. He was meeting with one of our people up front, and that's what he said. So I told you we have college classes here. That's Vincennes University. We offer an associate's degree through them. And it's also, we offer a clinical medical assistant, and we're getting ready to offer a pharmacy tech degree next year.
Okay.
Certification, excuse me. The more the merrier. The more we have to offer.
More options.
The more options, that's exactly right. And so all of this through here is all of our area. We do our testing, classrooms here. You've met Darla before. And Darla is our test administrator.
Hey, how are you? Good to see you again.
Of course, this is our testing area.
So, Debbie, do you know how many GEDs? I know that's not the only thing you do, but it's probably what you started as. Is traditionally, the adult ed has done that. You know how many a year is average for y'all
Darla?
that have passed? Ms. Darla, how many folks pass GED a year? About 100 a year. Okay.
Yep. That's the whole GED. That's not just the sections. Because you can take each section so they could roll over into the next year or the next 2 years. Because, adults don't drop out, they stop out. Something happens, that we hear that all the time. This happened in my life. In fact, one of the ladies that just walked through, I talked to her, she had to stop out, but she's coming back now. She's going to go to college. She said, I'm on it, she's doing really good. It's, they just got to be ready. But out here is where, when I talked about earlier too, people serving. This is where we serve the students. They'll come in and set out, and we keep water available here for them. And they set up out here, and then they can sit out here and eat.
Okay.
Like I said, on Tuesdays and Thursdays, because a lot of them come from work, or they can't afford to do a drive-through. We're walking into the Resource Center Hub. We have 100 families office up here, and then the County Conservation District has an office up here. And then we rent it out, or people use it in the community.
I've been to some community meetings up here where you had put together, a number of other community agencies and organizations.
Yeah, I like to have at least twice a year a meeting of all the resources that we work with, so we can all see each other, so we can all be in the same room and talk about the needs of the county, or who's new in that office, who do we need to know, who's your face of that office. And so
what y'all have built here is truly a community resource hub.
That's what I want. That's what I've always wanted. We just had our second chance job fair and we partnered with ACC in Fort Smith. Great turnout. We had 20-something vendors to hire people. It was unbelievable. And they showed up, we had lunch, people got jobs, got to meet people, help them with resumes, and we're gonna start having one in the spring and in the fall for people that are, needing help. And not just jobs, but like I said earlier, just resources that they don't know that's out there, you know? We have Monarch 61 here that's for women that have been traumatized or lived in trauma. People don't know that's available. It's free for them to go out there. So they're all set up here for them to talk to, And that was so cool to see that happen. And one guy ended up coming to school here. Him and his wife was here, and they had their 3 little bitty kids. I mean, just cute as they could be. And now he's in school here, not because he has to be, but because he chooses to be.
Well, let's talk about the opportunity that district court provides to be able to engage people. What we've seen, and the case we're trying to make here, is that district court is upstream of foster care and incarceration, more serious consequences for crimes and actions, but that we could find individuals that are likely or more probable to end up there. We can find them in district court.
Absolutely.
And so talk to us a little bit about just, do you see that's true? After 5 years of working so closely with a court, reflect on that a little bit.
Absolutely. I wholeheartedly believe we have kept people from going to prison, and they will tell you that, because they'll tell you I was on the wrong road making bad choices, and now I've kept my job, kept my family. Well, they're taxpayers. People say, well, it don't have anything to do with me. Yes, it does. It's good economics, because then you keep people where they need to be. Their kids don't go to foster care, like you said, because they have nowhere to go if their parents are incarcerated. So yes, I definitely have seen it, and I've heard them say that to me, and I've asked. Every once in a while I'll just ask, hey, if you weren't here, what you been? I'd probably be in jail, or I'd be on my way to prison, or I'd be out on the street, or I might be dead. So yes, I definitely think it makes a big difference.
What you've been able to kind of assess at this point is the county, Crawford County, has saved at least $1.1 million in direct jail costs. You've just been able to divert someone from, instead of going to jail, you get to go to school and better yourself. And that is good, not only for the individual, but for the Crawford County community.
Oh, absolutely. And for for families, just think about that. It just comes full circle. And, and I say that a lot. You have to take care of the whole person. If you come in and you're hungry or you don't have a place to live, those are the kind of things that we make referrals to. We have 100 families here, hand to hand in our community, just different resources in our community. It's not all about us. We're not doing all of it. But if we can't do it, we probably know somebody that can.
When you started alt sentencing with Judge Baker 5 years ago, you had how many students per year kind of leading up to it? And then
we had 400 the first year. We had alt sentencing the first full year. We were up to 1,200 students.
Okay, so you went from 400 students when you were
just adult ed.
Just adult ed. But then when you started partnering with the court, you touched 1,200 lives.
Right, and it wasn't just alt sentencing students. It's mom, dad, grandma, and grandpa. We've had 3 generations in the building at a time going through programs.
So someone was seeing that you provided opportunities, and they talked to their loved ones and brought them up here.
Yes. Well, or they had to bring them because they, in the state of Arkansas, you can't drive for 6 months if you get in trouble with drugs, so they'd have to bring them. Well, why sit out in the car? I might as well go through one of the programs. Hey, I never touched a computer. I think I'll take one of those programs. So yeah, it was unbelievable at how quick, it started. Well, and then COVID came around and our numbers kind of dropped a little bit. And then we're on the way back up this year. We're probably looking at about 1,100 this year.
What would you say to some community members that might be watching this and then be interested in how could they get started in their own community? Because clearly what you all have built here after 5 years is truly remarkable.
I would have a luncheon I tell everybody that, and invite all your judges who's going to be involved, your prosecuting attorneys, whoever is going to be in that pipeline. Invite them and talk to them about this program and how you're going to put it together. You've got to work as a team. We work with Judge Baker's, not just him. We work with all of his staff. We are a team. We had a luncheon not too long ago, so I could share with them our numbers and what they've been a part of. And they were so excited because they didn't realize, you know, they're a part of this. This wouldn't work without them. It wouldn't work without us. We have to work as a team, and we have to make this work for our community. And they are on board. I mean, they're a phenomenal group of people to work with.
Judge Baker.
If you were thinking about, you know, how to replicate what y'all have here, or at least in principle, you know, in other district courts, you know, can you talk a little bit about why should maybe another court consider going through all the trouble that y'all have gone through and working it out and the community providers? And
because you can see the effect in the community. That's the end result that you see, is the community's different as a result of the opportunities that we're providing people. I think the biggest impediment to other judges implementing this is, unfortunately, in some communities, agencies don't talk to each other. Courts don't communicate with the other agencies that can help the people that are appearing in their court. And I don't understand why that is. You know, but I talk to groups occasionally, and I'll say to them, well, have you ever gone down and talked to your district judge? And they'll say one of two things, either no, I never have, or I don't even know who my district judge is. And so we've got to fix that. And I think it's easier for us as judges to reach out to people than it is to expect them to come to us. And so I encourage other judges, if they want to look at what we've done, to get out there, talk to community groups, talk to the other government agencies in your community. I meet regularly with our county judge, with the members of our quorum court, with the chiefs of police for all of our agencies, with mayors, with the superintendents in our school district. I never refuse a phone call from anybody that wants to talk to me about what we're doing in court. In fact, yesterday I got a phone call from Western Arkansas Planning and Development asking if they can come in Friday and meet with me. Happy to do that. We've got to take advantage of those opportunities when we get a chance to tell people what our needs are and what they could do to make it better for people who are having to go through our court system.
what recommendations might you give to another judge on how to start? I know you said kind of reached out, but what would be the way to, you've grown so large over 6 years.
Yes.
How would another judge just get started?
Well, I was really lucky because the first person that I talked to about this was the director of our adult education service, Dr. Debbie Faubus, and she is just on fire about helping people. And so I think that's the key to other district judges. If you've got to find that person in your community that's on fire, that really believes in what you're talking about and is willing to commit the time and effort to make it happen. I was fortunate enough that was the first person I talked to. Some judges may have to go through several people before you find that person. But if you find somebody who's willing to take it on, and we've been so fortunate here. We've had retired state legislators who have signed on to help us. We've got retired teachers and educators who have signed on to help us. I mean, it's just every day I look up and I'm just shocked at people who have led substantive lives, who have already accomplished so many things in their career, who take the time to come in and try to help us. So you just got to make that connection with your community leaders who are willing to get involved.
Dr. Faubus, it has to be harder to do adult ed the way that you're doing it than the way maybe that traditionally it's been done. I mean,
I'm sure.
It's got to be a lot more time. And
Oh, it is. It is. I could sit behind my desk, draw my same paycheck, and then retire when I needed to. But it's so much more fulfilling, more than money or anything, when you can help somebody. And when somebody's successful, when somebody comes back and tells you or your staff, you helped me. We had a gentleman leave the other day, and he wrote thank you notes to every staff member that helped him. Now, who does that anymore? You know, that meant so much to the staff members. It's about our whole team, and they believe in what we do. And they know that if they don't believe in what we do, they don't really need to be here, because we're here for people and we're here to serve, and that's what we need to do.
Thanks for joining us for a look inside the Van Buren District Court. Join us next episode as we look to the future of the court system. Thank you again.
Thanks to our guests, Dr. Debbie Faubus, Judge Charles Baker, and the staff of the Crawford County District Court and of Crawford County Adult Education. And thanks to Arkansas Churches for Life for sponsoring. Musical credits include The Simple Truth by Dr. Delight, Tangles by Aaron Sprinkle, Wander by Ilo, and Road to Home by Solitude. Music is licensed through Soundstripe.com. Smart Justice is a work of Restore Hope. Please consider helping us produce more work like this by becoming a sponsor at www.smartjustice.org. Thank you again.
Sound rolling?
We are now
Sound speed?
Yes, we are now rolling, and I'm holding
Now
the.
that we're actually recording audio, can we not have a really loud conversation in the room right next to us while we're talking? Just asking.
Not naming names.
Asking for a friend.
Asking for a friend.
Okay, and action.